Quick update on the new shop. The new shop is built. It is awesome. I love it. I still have to do a few, electricity and plumbing things before we can actually move the camper out there within the next, hopefully, week or two. Then I can start emptying the Connex, our shipping container, to get all the equipment out there and finally set up shop. So if you're interested in all of the, the day-to-day type stuff, check out my Homestead channel, BP03 Homestead. I'm releasing videos basically on a timeline format. So every day or two, I'll record it and that's the video that gets published. Whereas this channel is going to remain project-based for creating. Mostly woodworking, a little bit of this and that, but mostly woodworking on this channel. So with that being said, I obviously don't have a shop to set up and work out of right this minute. My big laser engraver, the xTool P2, it's in storage. My wife's kind of like chomping at the bit to get that one out of storage. She basically commandeered that from me. But here in the camper, we still have been doing a few odds and ends, small scales type stuff with the laser engraver. And I don't have a tremendous amount of space, but I do have a laser station here in the camper. So let me jump off of this camera, go to my GoPro, we'll talk about what we have right behind me. We obviously don't have enough space for the P2, but this is the xTool F1 Ultra, and I like this one better. My wife likes the other one better. I like this one better. My wife can do much larger stuff on the other one. This one is just so fast and satisfying to use. It can do all kinds of materials, including metal. I'll get into that in just a second. I also have here the AP2. AP is Air Purifier 2, is the second generation, I would imagine. And this is the upgraded air purifier from the first one that they had. This one is supposed to have a much lower operating cost long term. It's a cyclone filtration up here. So on the back side you have your air. Whoops, I pressed the little button here. That was full blast. So you have your cyclones up top, but you have your air intake right here. Comes through, and underneath these plates, these plexiglass or clear acrylic, you can see how dirty the cyclone gets, and when it gets too dirty you can take this out and clean it. It doesn't come out from up here, it comes out on this side. The whole thing's on wheels. Let me spin this around just a little bit. And this front door is just a magnetic latch door. And then we have 5 filters plus the cyclone. So up here on top, 0 is the cyclone. Pre-filter is 1. Number 2 is the medium efficiency filter, activated carbon filter, ultra dense carbon mesh filter, and the high efficiency filter. Each one of these trays, you can pull them out. You have to put them back in a certain order. And in between each one of these trays is a nice thick foam gasket. So air comes in through the back on the top. The cyclone separates as much as it can up top. And then it goes down through each one of these layers, getting finer and finer filtration before it exits out on the back. And of course this door is just a magnetic latch, and here's your tab to open it up. So this is a nice addition. I like this a lot better than the other one. The other one worked. I keep hitting this button up here. The other one worked, but the filters just don't last as long, which is why I think they designed this one. So up here on the top you have these buttons to turn it on. You have auto mode, and you have manual fan selection. So let me turn it back on, then turn the fan off. So there's high. You can go through your different ranges, but just press auto, and your auto light lights up right there. And then now under auto, it'll have Bluetooth control to the machine. So that way when you turn the machine on, this thing's a set it and forget it. It's auto, and I can cut wood in here, burn wood in here, and I don't stink up the place. For what I'm doing here in this camper, I know it's kind of an unusual situation, but filtration is an absolute must. I've tried to exhaust some of this air, well, exhaust the air out a window or the door, but these campers are so leaky, and I don't know why, but it just sucks in everything, and you can't get rid of the smell in the camper if you're exhausting outside. It doesn't matter if it's windy outside or if it's not windy, you're going to get the smell back just because of my environment. So having something that is really good filtration has been really, really nice. So let's jump into a few projects with the xTool F1. Let's start out with something fast. These little metal business cards are incredibly cheap. You can get a large quantity for just a few dollars, and they engrave really, really fast. So on this side I have just some basic flowers, and this is for my testing purposes, this is going to be a bookmark for my wife, right? So I've already done this side. Now, I don't know how much detail the camera is going to show. I don't know the minimum focal distance of this camera, but every single line you see is an individual vector. It's an individual line. I did not combine anything for engraving. This is all scoring cuts with a lot of redundancy and a lot of overlap and just a tremendous amount of information. And I left it that way on purpose because I wanted to see just how fast it is if you don't go through the process of combining vectors and all this other nonsense. So I've already done one side, very impressed. I'm going to flip it over and do the exact same thing on the other side. Now with this particular vector, the vector is a little bit larger than the card itself, so I'm going to get some overburn around the material. And for that, you want to use this particular riser. The riser is going to take the damage and not the bed of the machine. And I bring that up because I've already damaged the bed of the machine with the laser itself. The laser can cut metal. The bed of the machine is metal. So of course, it's going to cut it if you don't protect it. This riser will protect it. That took 27 seconds. 27 seconds. Now, of course, depending on the metal, it's probably going to be hot, but this doesn't have enough thickness to retain any heat. 27 seconds. That is so cool and so satisfying. Every bit of this was a scoring pass. So scoring is you're just doing lines, right? Engraving takes a little bit more time because you're not tracing lines, you're simply going left to right, left to right, left to right, left to right, and working your way down. So if I was to combine all this stuff and then use a engraving pass, it would be slightly longer, probably not much longer for something this size, but nevertheless, engraving does take longer than scoring. So with that being said, let's do a little engraving on some of this craft paper. This is, I don't know how thick it is, but it's pretty thick paper, not quite cardboard, right? And we used this a lot when my wife was running her laser business for making little tags, little thank you tags to put inside the product as you ship it out, or the boxes as you ship it out. And this year, I think we're going to be using this stuff for making our tags on Christmas gifts. So I've already designed one up real fast, tested it out, of course, and let's cut one of these and see how fast it is for something like this. The software says that should take 33 seconds, so let's see. So this thing is producing a fair amount of smoke. It's all being pulled into the back, and I can't smell any of it here in the camper at all. This air purifier works really, really well. All right, 32 seconds is what the pendant says. Thank you for buying my product. For customer service, call Jenny. Sometimes it's handy to put your initials on tools, and it's incredibly easy to do that as well. Two seconds. 2 seconds. Two seconds. That is so fast. There's a couple tests that I want to start today as I'm making this video. The first one is I want to use some of these Slate coasters to make some plant identification tags, something that can withstand the elements. This slate isn't going to be destroyed by the elements, but how is the contrast between the slate and the engraving going to hold up? How is that going to hold up long term exposed to the elements? So I will put 2 herbs on here. My wife went down the rabbit hole of permaculture and gardening, and I'm super excited that she has done that. But myself as well as her, we don't know all of the plants just by looking at them, right? A lot of people you see online who've been gardening for a long time can just rattle off all kinds of plants, and it's interesting. There's a lot of stuff to remember. So in the meantime, we're going to start out with some dummy tags, right? I'm going to put 2 herbs on here that I know she will have. Rosemary and I think sage, if I'm not mistaken, is what I've already put on the computer. And we will engrave these. Once they're done, I'm going to just set them outside on our property and let them ride for a couple months. How is that contrast going to hold up with the elements, the engraved part versus the non-engraved part? That's the big test here. That took 1 minute and 14 seconds. One minute and 35 seconds for rosemary. So of course this is an ongoing long-term experiment, but what I did just experiment and find out about is if you drop one of these, they're not as, let's just say, durable as I would have hoped, because they break pretty easily when, say, you know, drop 5 feet onto the ground. So that's a little oopsie. That kind of sucks for this particular one, but we can still complete this test without the corner. I'm a big fan of the weathered metal look. You know, you've seen people take, say, you know, rusted tin off of a roof of a barn or something like that, and then they use that metal as the ceiling in a garage or ceiling in some type of activity space. I like that look, or maybe like wainscoting on a wall. I really like that weathered metal look, and I'm trying to incorporate some of the offcuts from the shop build. So this is a piece of the metal C channel. There's a specific name for this stuff that they used for the purlins up on top of the roof, the girts on the walls of my metal shop. And there's a lot of this material left over, and I'm thinking, is there a way that I can incorporate this into labels for the rest of the shop? I think that would be a good way to recycle materials, but also keep the shop within the shop in a sense. So this is the metal as it is, as it was put up, right? It's rust protected on the parts that aren't cut, and then everywhere that they actually did cut, it's already rusty. So maybe I can take this and cut it down to a smaller size, or a standard uniform size that I could use for labels, like labels on my miter saw station for what's inside it, or labels for whatever's on each workbench. Or, you get what I'm saying, right? Labels out of this. So I'm going to test on this without any paint. There's a little bit of dirt there, but I don't think that's going to stop the laser at all. I may wipe that up, I'm not sure. But I also took another piece of the same stuff and I painted it white. So how is this going to look? How is it going to hold up? So both of these I will engrave and then stick in the shop. So a non-climate controlled environment. These may still get some surface rust where they're engraved. But I don't want to expose these to direct rain and sunlight, because I don't think that's how I'm going to use these long term. So let me put these in here, and I will actually engrave the date that the shop was completed as a fun little test to throw around in the shop for a few months before I get the actual shop set up and I figure out what type of tags I need to make. This completed in 1 minute and 48 seconds. Now that looks clean. Holy smokes, that looks really, really clean. Just regular white spray paint on this metal. And the same settings for both of these. That's going to be a little bit more difficult to read, but I wonder if this, if I clean this up, or maybe let that rust a little bit, see if that changes color. So maybe leaving them as is isn't the best idea, and maybe simply just painting them is. That's interesting nonetheless. Previously I did a bunch of these grid arrays, or these grid material tests, and this kind of was preliminary stuff to figure out what I wanted to experiment with further, what I wanted to test further. This one right here, this is from the fiber laser, and it's just way too dark right here, but this is a good test to throw out outside over the winter and see how these darker areas hold up on this stainless as well. So this piece I'm still going to test. But going forward, I want to test some other stuff. I want to take a fresh piece and do a grid of the default values for the blue light and a grid of the default values for the fiber laser. Remember, this F1 Ultra has two different lasers in it. It's got a 20-watt fiber laser and a 20-watt diode laser. So after that, I think I have on here as well a butterfly, a colored butterfly, two different colors. And then I also have an AI-generated image, which I don't have much faith for as far as how this is going to turn out. But I do want to see how the default values will hold up on this stainless steel. And then this whole piece will, again, go outside as a test. The fan is going and the laser is going. Now, the fan's on auto. I don't know what speed it's on, but it's not crazy at all. It's pretty quiet in here. You can still definitely have a conversation in the same room as the machine running. This job took 28 minutes, and the colors up here on the blue light laser, that grid was successful. Didn't quite get as deep of a result as what I wanted with the fiber laser on the grid on the bottom left, but these are all just default settings I can tweak. This AI generated image is there, but I wasn't really expecting it to be super awesome because this material is not really great for what I just did right there. And then this butterfly, it's got a haze on it. I think I can clean this up quite a bit. Yeah, get this haze off of here. And I got the purplish color, orangish purplish color that I wanted, but the inside was supposed to be blue. So I got to tinker around with these settings. Regardless though, this is a good enough test piece for me to set outside and see how these colors in this top corner, see how these colors last over time exposed to the elements. I want to expand upon the level of instant gratification that you can achieve with one of these lasers. So this is photo paper, right? It's black photo paper, just black, and when you engrave or when you score cut, it turns white. So here is an engraving, just a simple thing that I sketched on my phone, which is so much fun, and something that my daughter sketched up on the phone. Isn't that just so cool? Instant gratification. So I want to show you real fast. I'm going to put the piece of paper in here on the machine. I do have it on that riser base, but it doesn't necessarily have to be on the riser base. I have the center of the machine area, the cutting area, engraving area, covered with the material, so there's a laser light on it, and that's useful for measuring the thickness of the material because it's the thickness of material based upon the base plate. So I have to add the thickness of that riser. Well, it's already automatically done. So I am recording my phone screen. This is the xTool Creative Space app. I'll press the little plus icon at the bottom, new project. I'm going to go into my settings, make sure I'm connected to the F1 Ultra, which I am. The material, I will change that to laser engraving photo paper. Press confirm. One more thing that I want to do is take a snapshot of the bed of the machine so I can actually see where the material is. There you go. And now I want to go to graffiti. And let's type in, or let's draw something. Let's just draw, I don't know, let's be nice with it. Let's draw one of these little Cupid heart arrows that I used to draw all the time when I was a kid. I don't know why. I used to draw it all the time. It's not as good as it once was, let's say, drawing with my finger on a phone. But there you go. Lasers are cool. Doesn't matter what you write, all right? It's just something basic right there. I'll press the check mark, and right here we can go ahead and shrink it down just a little bit, shrink it down just a little bit. Let's just say some kid wrote something funny on your phone and you wanted to capture it real fast. You can do it just like that. This is set up to engrave. I think we're good to go. Let's press process. Press process. And okay, there's a, that's fine, got it. Press start. Goes over to the machine, press start right here. And oh, I forgot to get the other camera going, it's going so fast. "50 seconds just for the engraving. Now I don't know how long the entire process took for me to start up my phone, record, set it in there and all that, but you get the point. Instant gratification. This is so cool. You imagine taking one of these to like a a family Thanksgiving or a family Christmas event or some type of family gathering, and have all the kids and the grandkids draw some stuff out, and then you have stuff to take home with you like that. It's just, I don't know. I think that's really, really cool. And the fact that you can do it all from your phone, I think that's awesome. Maybe you have a tablet. I haven't tried this with a tablet, but if you have a tablet, you have a larger screen, so your graffiti can be more in-depth or elaborate or whatever. Anyway, super, super fun. In this video, I basically wanted to give you an introduction to these two machines, the F1 Ultra and the AP2 air purifier. We have quite a little laser army, and we're going to set that up, a dedicated laser space in the new shop. Of course, my wife has, well, there you go. My wife has, I guess it's ours, but technically my wife has commandeered it. The P2, we have the xTool P2 with a cart. I built a cart for it. Free files available for that cart, as well as the F1 and now the F1 Ultra. We have two of the original air purifiers, and then this much more efficient air purifier, the AP2. If you're interested in learning any information about any of the laser engravers through xTool, I'll have a link down in the description. Consider clicking through that link. It is an affiliate link. I do make a little commission on the sale, but your price doesn't change. And while you are on the xTool website, look around for any other sales that they may have going on. It is Black Friday when I'm recording this. Life has been so crazy. I meant to record this several days ago, but hopefully this will be out a little bit on Black Friday. Of course, there will be Black Friday deals as well. We'll have these set up in the shop in their own little space, so if you want to see more things that we make with these, be sure to subscribe to not only this channel, but also my Homestead channel, BPO3 Homestead, where I produce a little bit more timeline-based content where I may start something one day and finish it later, versus this channel where it's all project-based, where I try to get the whole project into one video. So I think that's the whole spiel. I'm going to tinker around with this a little bit more before I wrap things up today. You guys take care, have a great day, and I'll talk to you in the next video.